Dominican Order. The Dominicans and the Franciscans had both become powerful in the Languedoc, and gained a preeminent position as inquisitors against the Albigensians. 54 In 1206, Diego of Osma and his canon, the future Saint Dominic, founder of the Dominican Order, began a program of conversion in the Languedoc. Saint Dominic, often called Dominic de Guzman, 1170–1221, was born in the Kingdom of Leon and Castile. In 1203, Dominic joined Diego de Acebo on an embassy to Denmark for the monarchy of Spain, to arrange the marriage between the son of King Alfonso VIII of Castile, 1155–1214, and a niece of King Valdemar II of Denmark. Alfonso VIII was the grandson of Alfonso VII of Leon and Castile, and married Eleanor of England, daughter of Eleanor of Aquitaine and Henry II of England. The envoys travelled to Denmark by way of Aragon and Toulouse, when Dominic became inspired into a reforming zeal after they encountered Albigensian Christians. Dominic believed that the primary reason for the spread of the heretical movement was the leaders of the church behaved too ostentatiously, in contrast to the Cathars who generally led ascetic lifestyles. He concluded that only preachers who displayed real sanctity, humility, and asceticism could win over convinced Cathar believers. In his 10 years of preaching, a large number of converts were made. 55. Saint Dominic set up his headquarters in the town of Fanjeaux in 1206, becoming its parish priest and taking charge of its ancient church, Notre Dame de Prouerle, France, the cradle of the Dominicans, deep in Cathar country, where he attempted to convert the heretics back to the Catholic faith. Diego de Acebo, Bishop of Osma, and Saint Dominic were allowed to use the church by Bishop Falcais of Toulouse, c. 1150–1231. Before reforming his ways and becoming a fierce opponent of the Cathars, Falcais had been a famous troubadour, known to Raymond Geoffroy II of Marseille, Richard Lionheart, Raymond V of Toulouse, Raymond Roger of Foix, Alfonso II of Aragon and William VIII of Montpellier. He is most famous for his love songs which were lauded by Dante. In Fanjeaux, Saint Dominic founded a convent for young women fleeing the debauchery of the Cathars. Soon after, Saint Dominic added monks to his growing community, thus planting the seeds of what would later become the Dominican Order. 56 The most generous donor was Simon de Montfort, leader of the Albigensian Crusade. Histories of the Holy Rosary often attribute its origin to Saint Dominic, inspired by a vision of the Blessed Virgin Mary at Prouerle. According to Dominican tradition, in 1206, when Saint Dominic had little success in his attempts to convert the Cathars, a vision of the Blessed Virgin appeared who gave him the Rosary as a tool against the heretics. Saint Dominic called on Catholics as well as heretics to pray the Rosary. By 1213, many Catholic crusaders took up his advice, and devotion to the Rosary had spread. That year, a crusader army under Simon de Montfort confronted a Cathar army under Raymond of Toulouse in the Battle of Muret. The heretics were routed. Years later, when the Cathar heresy was finally extinguished, many Catholics attributed this defeat as much to Saint Dominic's zeal as to the crusaders' arms. 57. At Dominic's request, the Dominican Order was formally established by Pope Honorius III in 1216, to preach in conquered Cathar territory and to combat the spread of heresy. The Dominicans in turn created the first formal Inquisition. In 1233 the next pope, Gregory IX, charged the Dominican Inquisition with the final solution, the absolute extirpation of the Cathars. Dominic also supported the military campaigns against the Cathars during the Albigensian Crusade. In 1219, Pope Honorius III invited Dominic and his companions to take up residence at the ancient Roman Basilica of Santa Sabina. In 1220, at Bologna the order's first general chapter mandated that each new priory maintain its own studium conventual, thus laying the foundation of the Dominican tradition of sponsoring institutions of learning. 58 The studium was transformed into the order's first studium provincial by St. Thomas Aquinas in 1265. Part of the curriculum of the studium was relocated in 1288 at the studium of Santa Maria sopra Minerva, which in the 16th century would be transformed into the College of St. Thomas. The church's name derives from the fact that the first Christian church structure on the site was built directly over the ruins of a temple dedicated to the Egyptian goddess Isis, which had been equated to the goddess Minerva, the Athena of the Romans. The Dominican friars quickly spread, including to England, where they appeared in Oxford in 1221. In the 13th century, the order reached all classes of Christian society, and by its missions to the north of Europe, to Africa and Asia passed beyond the frontiers of Christendom. Its schools spread throughout the entire church, its doctors wrote monumental works in all branches of knowledge, including the highly influential Albertus Magnus and Thomas Aquinas. Its members included popes, cardinals, bishops, legates, inquisitors, confessors of princes, and ambassadors.